full racism again. That's all they got. They don't have anything else. All right, let's go. Brian Kilmeade, who decided to speak on the colored sororities. Here it is.
The problem with Kamala Harris, number one, she has not had her record exploited heavily because people thought and marginalized her. Even in the Democratic Party, they said, wow, what a bad choice Joe Biden made. Number two is she hasn't sat down for an interview. When she sits down in an interview and says, do you want to fund ICE? Where do you stand on Medicare for all? Why didn't you show up? The most recent decision, already you got a question. She will not show up for the Prime Minister's joint session of Congress today. She'd rather address in the summer a sorority, a college sorority, like she can't get out of that. So that's her decision, and that's her decision to back up the protesters.
This man said colored sorority. You see what's happening, don't you? He's on regular ass TV. Colored sorority. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Put it up full mass. Let me do some explaining here. Okay. Alum of the sorority. Had choice words for Brian Kilmeade. FYI, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated is not some colored sorority. It's a 104-year-old organization of college-educated women with a long history of scholarship and service. You sound foolish and racist trying to mock VP Harris because she chose to honor her commitment to speak. Well, Harris chose to speak with them instead of Netanyahu, okay? A guy who's committing genocide. Vice President Kamala Harris, notably absent from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to a joint session of Congress on Wednesday. But the move could have the potential to show some daylight between her and President Biden, something I actually talked about with a guest yesterday on the program, Risa Colbert. When it comes to the Israeli leader, the move could further solidify support from young, minority, and more progressive voters who, poll shows, they have more sympathetic views as it relates to the cause. For starters, you have one representative, Jayapal, a Democrat Washington, chair of the Congressional Progressives Caucus, said recently that Harris, quote, has a deep empathy for the situation of Palestinian Americans, adding it's more natural to her. Which was clear in some of the, dissension that was echoed from the White House through the vice president's communication director at a time. Also, Brian Kilmeade wasn't the only one engaging in this kind of rhetoric. Here it is.
I mean, intellectually, just really kind of the bottom of the barrel.
I think there have been some brilliant American women in politics, but I don't think Kamala Harris is one of them.
She would be the queen of DEI if she were elected. She is DEI.
And of course, her whole history is DEI, diversity, exclusion, and equity. I mean, inclusion and equity. I mean, what does that tell you? It's totally woke.
The only reason Kamala's in the White House is because of the DEI deal Biden cut with Bernie to seal the nomination.
What I hate is identity politics. We shouldn't care if somebody is an ethnic minority. We shouldn't care if they're a woman. We should be caring about, can they do the job? And she is not proven as vice president she can do the job.
I think she was a DEI hire, and I think that that's what we're seeing.
And Donald Trump's going to win in November, and we will be rid of all this DEI, woke culture, BS nonsense, I won't use the word, that America has been subjected to.
Yeah, and then there's the DEI press secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough.
They ain't got nothing else. That's all they got. That's all they got. Listen, I applaud the Republican Party for staying on message. Damn it, that's one thing they can do, especially when they're wrong. They will repeat a talking point over and over and over again. You can go to this conservative station. You can go to another conservative blog. You can watch a conservative on YouTube. They're saying the same thing. She is a DEI hire, not qualified, not credentialed. Well, explain. They never do. They don't go line by line. They don't go item by item. They don't talk about education. They don't talk about actual accomplishment. They don't talk about public service. If they actually go line by line, clearly you will see the difference between her qualifications, which are massive compared to the guy that they choose. And then they talk about brilliance. She's not a brilliant woman. What? Wait a minute. Why is it that the lack of brilliance from Donald Trump never came up? All of the failures of their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, never is an issue. They make excuses for Trump they would not make for their children or themselves. They accept behavior from Trump they would not accept from members of their own family. They would disown people in their household for what Trump does on a regular basis. And they will praise Trump for these actions. It is more than just cult behavior. They are in a cult. They are in a cult era. And Donald Trump knows it. Okay, Waz, I'm actually okay with this because this tells me they really have nothing, and this whole DEI thing, that's not moving the needle anywhere, especially for middle of the road voters.
I think what you're watching in those clips that you guys brilliantly put together, Dr. Richey, is a misaligned incentive structure between what's good for Fox News, hate radio, as you mentioned, and what would actually be good electorally for Republican national politicians. What do I mean by that? These people dined out on those 8 years of Obama. We're talking about records in profits and viewerships to demonize Obama. However, at the ballot box, he kicked their butts both times, whooped them really badly, because these swing voters, these independent voters, they don't mind Black people. They don't. Right. They wouldn't have voted for Obama as overwhelmingly as they did. They don't mind the idea that Kamala is a woman, is Black, is brown. You know, her mother's Indian or whatever. Like, they don't really have a problem with that. And like we mentioned earlier in the show, like, they're making gains amongst minorities in terms of actual voters. Now, if the politicians want to actually win, I think we've seen Trump sort of even signaling to the media that he's softening his message. He's pivoting to the center. Pivoting will not include this nasty DUI, oh, she's a hoe, oh, this kind of crap. Like, that's not going to actually work. Now, if they want to come out and be like, look, you know, Biden made her the border czar, and we still think the border's a mess. We want to hang that around her neck. We want to blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. That's fair game. That's what we call politics for sure. But this line of, oh, she's promiscuous, no kids, the one idiot called her a cat lady, all of this, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and they think it will. I'm okay. Listen, I'm encouraging them. Keep on, because you're right. It doesn't move the moderate voter at all.
Period.
I just hope Democrats realize that they still, while playing some of the politics obviously is required, they still have to talk about things that actually relate back to policy and deliver them, damn it. They have to deliver. That is the best way to regain the ground here. Deliver. All right.